So Inspired by Bonnie with another Tuesday's tip. Welcome, welcome. I want to thank you all for showing up, and today we're going to discuss hooping the small stuff made easy. So I'm glad to see that you are coming in. I'm going to double check over here and make sure we have volume and make sure that everybody's here. Go ahead and let me know. I have a question for all of you. Go ahead and let me know, how long have you been sewing? Whether it's been 1 year, 10 years, 20 years, your whole life, learning on your grandma's knee, whatever. Just let me know how long you've been sewing. So I'm going to go ahead and, as I said, refresh my page, make sure we're there. It looks like we're good to go. So I'm going to put my computer over here out of the way for the time being. And again, we're going to discuss hooping the small stuff. At the end, I wanted to give you a little tip. At the end, we're going to have another great tip on a recycling tip on how to keep your mug rugs or coasters from spreading moisture underneath. You know, if they're just made with fabric, you're still going to have moisture getting on those tables. So we have a great tip at the end on how to prevent that. All right. So before I get started, I also wanted to thank everybody who wrote in and sent their wishes and prayers and all for the mishap we had last week. My hubby took a really bad fall. He's doing well. He's going to be fine, but I really appreciate all your prayers and wishes. So I just wanted to say that up front. All right, hooping the small stuff. Now, probably the one I hear about the most are onesies because they are a pain. So I'm going to bring this over here so we have, I'm working in a small quarter here, so make sure that I want you to be able to see everything. So hooping onesies are great gifts for showers or Christmas time. You can do all sorts of things with onesies if you can just get them under the hoop, and if you can tame them so that you can actually embroider on them without an arm getting stuck, you know, under the needle, or the back getting embroidered, or all sorts of little mishaps can happen. So let's go ahead and see what we can do to make it a little bit easier. First off, I wanted to let you know this isn't going to be a placement class or instructional video, so I just want you to know that up front. It's not really an instruction on how to do the placement. We're going to just take your onesie, and I've just put a line on here. If you can see it, I marked what the top was of my design as well as the center, so I know where the center of my design is going to be. And you might want to use a template, you know, whatever works for you, the little snowman sticker, whatever works best for you. Just make sure that you have an arrow so that you know which way's up. Secondly, I wanted to mention, I like to use a similar shade of stabilizer as to the complexion of the baby that it's being made for. So in this instance, I've got kind of a nude color stabilizer. When you're using a onesie, always, 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 I can't stress this enough, use a cutaway stabilizer for that onesie. So this is a cutaway mesh. Now, I'm using a 4x4 hoop, but there's an awful lot of excess over here. So I'm going to trim that away just a little bit. I don't have to get too technical about it or anything. I just want some of the bulk of that away because I don't want that stabilizer to get into underneath and wrapped around while it's doing the embroidery of my onesie. So I just kind of like to, after I get it hooped, trim away a little bit. Like I said, you don't have to be super fancy, just kind of get it out of the way. So it's more like this, okay? So that's just something I like to do. And then you're gonna take your onesie, and I like to put it like I'm dressing my hoop. So I have my hoop with the arm attachment facing up, like I'm going, like as though that is the neck area of for the hoop, for the onesie. Okay, so you're gonna just open up the bottom and slide the hoop in just like you're taking your child or whatever. Take the hoop and you're putting this over the little head on the neck area. So I'm just sliding this right over the hoop, just like that. So see, I have this portion out the neck edge of my onesie, all right? And I forgot to mention, but I like to use a little spray adhesive first on the stabilizer, which I use this oops, get it in front of the camera, the KK100, which I get from the embroidery store online. That's where I found the best prices for it. So again, that's KK100 at the embroidery store. I have no affiliation or anything, it's just good stuff. It doesn't gum my needle, and I like it. I already did spray this. So you're gonna find your center of your hoop, and you're just gonna gently get that onesie kind of attached with the spray adhesive. So I've got that kind of attached. I still have the back on the back. I mean, I haven't done anything. You don't want to embroider like that just yet, obviously. And then I'm gonna take a few pins just to hold this in place while I'm doing my next trick. So get these pins in here. And you can come in from underside. You want to just make sure you're only pinning the front of the onesie to the stabilizer. Only the front to the stabilizer. You don't want to be pinning the back or catching it. So that's why I have my hand inside, coming up from underneath where the snaps are. Okay, so I've pinned this all in place, and I've got everything pinned and ready to go. So I'm going to set this aside. And my secret weapon is going to be a lunch meat container. I'm going to recycle a lunch meat container to be a little guard around, excuse me, the onesie so it doesn't curl up on top of itself. And what you're going to do is you're going to take your regular scissors that are for cutting paper or whatever, your craft scissors, and you're going to cut down right straight through the back side, okay? And then you're going to start cutting the bottom of this lunch meat container right off. You're just going to go around and cut off the bottom. And it cuts pretty easy. It's not like it's something really hard to cut. And so there you go. We've got the bottom cut off, and we've created a little guard, you might say. Okay, so then the next thing, put that aside. I'm going to take this onesie that's already pinned, and I'm going to start moving it so that it's coming back up where I need it to be. Okay, and as you can see, it's already wanting to start to be a little stinker. And it, you know, I mean, trying to hold this while you're embroidering would be a real challenge. So I'm going to slide this little guard in here. And I'm going to continue to bring the neck back up over the neck portion back up over the arm of the hoop. Trying to talk and think and do this at the same time is like rubbing your tummy and walking and chewing gum. Okay, you're going to get this in here. And what you're doing is you're, like I said, creating a little guard to protect that onesie from curling back on itself. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to take these arms, and I might want to pin those up and over here together just so that they don't flip and go underneath. So I'm going to take those little arms and just take a little straight pin and pin them together so that they're on the side where I can see them and make them behave. Okay, so I've got everything in there, and I've got, can you see that? It's not perfect just yet, but you see where I'm going with this. I'm going to remove the pins in a minute, but I've got this little guarded area. Okay, now I'm going to bring this machine over where you can see better. I have everything kind of not how I would sew, but trying to make it tilted and everything so that you can see what I'm doing. Okay, I'm going to take this little onesie with its little guard, and I'm going to start scooching it into the machine. And you could actually put the guard on after you have your onesie in the machine. You don't have to do it before. So you might want to experiment with that and see which way works best for you. But then I'm just going to open this when I get to the part with the guard. I'm going to open that little seam where I cut straight through the back. I'm going to open that up so I can go around the embroidery foot. And get this back down. Tucking it all around. And slide that on in. Make sure I've got that out of the way. There we go. Slide that on in, pull that down, my embroidery arm. And then you're just going to kind of fiddle with it a little bit until you have all of the onesie out of the way and this guard protecting it. And then you can come in here and remove those pins that you put in to just sort of temporarily hold things while you were getting ready. And once you've removed all your pins and have everything nice and flat, you've created a guard for your onesie. I still have a little tuck back there that I need to straighten out. But you have created a little guard for your onesie where everything won't fall back into your embroidery area. Now, if you were going to use a little bit bigger hoop, and I will admit this little lunch meat container that I found under our cupboard is a little bit small for my 4x4 hoop. I would probably prefer to get just a little bit bigger one. So next time we go get lunch meat, I'm going to make sure I get a little bit bigger one that will fit my hoop a little bit better. Okay, so we have that all down and it's all tucked in. Oops, I see another pin back there. Once you have that all tucked in, I still have it. Then you can go ahead and do your design and this won't fall back in on top of your embroidery. So I thought that was really clever when a lady showed that to me a while ago, and I just had to share it with you because I thought that will make our lives so much easier, making sure that the onesies don't get tucked up underneath and how to get them hooped, and they're just a challenge. So I think this would work for, you know, small t-shirts or anything like that that's a little bit smaller and more of a challenge to hoop. Okay, so with that being the case, I'm going to scooch this out the side and I'm going to bring the computer back and we're going to see if we have any questions. Now, sometimes I don't see all the questions. If I don't see your question live, I will double check later to see as they come in. So if you catch the replay or anything like that, please don't hesitate to ask questions because I do come back in and answer them later. So if I don't see it now, I will answer it later. Anna said, thank you, she's going to give it a try. And Sandy said, hubby, why did you buy such a big thing of lunch meat? Bonnie, to use the container for embroidery. Hubby, oh, of course. Oh, Sandy, that's funny. Susan, I'm going to go make me a fabric guard today so that I'll be ready to go. So it'll all be ready to go on the next project. Yep, you'll have it ready. I mean, don't you just love recycling things? I think taking something that's trash and making it into a treasure is very rewarding, and it's also good for our environment. So it makes you just feel good all the way around. Dina said, that is awesome. Linda said, this is a great information as I am expecting my first grandchild, a girl, in December. Congratulations, Linda. Oh, a little girl's going to be fun to sew for. All the ruffles and rickrack. Oh, you're going to have a blast. I have a whole stack of onesies to embroider. I bet you do. Teresa, what type of stabilizer did you use? I used a cutaway. Let me go get it. I also get this from the embroidery store. It comes on a roll. It's a no-show fusible mesh. And again, I like to match as best I can the color of the stabilizer to the complexion of the baby or whomever. This works really well for t-shirts, anything that's a knit. And the reason I say that, why would I want to match my stabilizer to the complexion? Have you ever noticed when you have a white t-shirt and a white stabilizer that 2 layers of white makes it extra white, and so you have kind of a shadow? In fact, I can show you kind of the same effect. I don't know if you can see it here. This is our new little kitty, our new Persian kitty that I just got up on the website before our accident last week. But anyway, I don't know if you can see this where I've double layered the white, and I've folded it over, and you can see just 1 layer of white. It's kind of not as white. Well, when you put 2 layers of white together, a onesie, for example, and a white stabilizer together on top of something that's a little bit darker, like our complexion, it's like a double white and then a single layer of white where the stabilizer is not. You can see through it a little bit, and it does. The white looks brighter in that section where you have a double layer, so it's kind of like a sign. And I like for my embroidery to stand out and not the stabilizer behind it. So that's why I kind of like to match my stabilizer, if I can, to the complexion of the baby. And this comes in white, black, and the nude color. I don't think it comes in any other colors, although I think it would really be nice if they did have a few more shades in there, because I think it would really be nice. So I always use the no-show stabilizer, cutaway stabilizer for knits. Sandy said, girls sewing ruffles. No kidding. It's the only time we can really get away and go crazy with bunches and bunches of ruffles, or on the little tiny ones, isn't it? Anna said the kitty is so cute. Thank you, thank you. I was going to show that. This was my first test sew on the kitty. There's a lot of shading on this kitty. I did a lot of hand shading when I digitized this one, and to me he looked a little bit dirty, so I in person it looks a little bit different than it does on camera. And then I did my second one, and I did it a little softer colors, and it just made my kitty look, still had the shading effect, but he looks like a white Persian, like they should look, all nice and clean. But I guess this one could be like frosted tips or something, I don't know. But he was fun. My next one coming up, you guys are the first to know, is going to be, I haven't decided if he's going to be called a Tonkinese, is that correct? A Tonkinese? Tankanese, or a Siamese, and I'm learning all kinds of stuff with kitty names because I have more dogs than I have kitties, but I'm learning there's all kinds of different kitties out there. So anyway, that's the next one I'm working on, and he's turning out cute. So anyway, let's see. I don't see any more questions just now, so I just also wanted to let you know there's a new blog post that went up on the website yesterday that has tips and tricks on joining the bindings when you come to the end, when you're trying to join the 2 ends of your binding together at the end of the quilt. For the longest time, more time than I care to admit to, I used the trial and error method, which was trim a little bit, see if it fits. Doesn't fit, rip it out, trim a little bit more, see if it fits. And that was kind of tedious until, again, some ladies showed me some tricks. So that's on the website if you wanted to see the new blog post on that. So now let's go to the customer tip, which comes from Brenda Jules. And what she talked about was, she said she likes to cut squares from plastic milk jugs. You know, the plastic gallon milk jugs you get. She likes to cut those into squares the size of her project to put those in like a rug mug or a coaster or anything like that, and it prevents moisture from going all the way down through to your table, but it's still, you can throw it in the wash and it's fully washable. So I thought that was a great tip from Brenda that she shared with us. Excuse me. So I'm going to send her, for sending in that tip, 5 6x10 sheets of our Glitter Flex. And here's what we have. They're different shades, of course. And here's a close-up of the Glitter Flex with the clear carrier off. It's very super sparkly stuff, and we have over 60 colors available on the website. So I hope you'll stop by and check it out, because the Glitter Flex really does make your projects pop, whether it be for applique or, you know, all by itself without any embroidery at all. So again, I wanted to thank you for spending a little bit of your day with us and sharing some tips. If you have a special tip, one of your favorite tips, please send it to Bonnie at sewinspiredbybonnie.com, and maybe if I share it online with everyone, I will be able to send you some Glitter Flex as well. So until next week, have a great sewing week and get those machines humming for Christmas. Until then, bye-bye for now.